Hi, welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Number to call if you want to join the program here in the last segment, 888-589-8840. You remember back in 1992, President Bush, well, this was actually 1990 it happened. 1988, President George H.W. Bush, Bush 1, who was Reagan's vice president for 8 years, and he ran on a platform that he was going to be the third term of Ronald Reagan, got elected in 1988. One of the promises that he made on the campaign trail, read my lips, no new taxes. And then 2 years later, he abandoned that promise, went back on his solemn word to the American people, and was part of the biggest tax increase at that point in American history. Now, I don't think there's going to be a conservative group out there. I mean, conservatives have criticized him for that since day one because all kinds of things wrong with that. Number one, no new taxes was a good idea. It's a bad idea to raise taxes. Number two, Jesus said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. He said yes, and then he changed his mind and said no. So that it reveals a lack of kind of character and integrity not to keep your word, especially when it's a promise of that magnitude. But if you're on the left, then breaking your promise, going back on your word, betraying the constituents to whom you pledged yourself, that is a resume enhancer. They love that kind of thing so much that they gave Bush 1 an award for going back on his word. They gave him an award for breaking his promise to the American people. Clip 13. Let's listen.
The Kennedy Library Foundation announced today it will present its 2014 JFK Profile in Courage Award to former President George H.W. Bush for his 1990 decision to raise taxes as part of a budget deal with Congress. During the campaign, Bush had famously said, read my lips, no new taxes. His decision to break that promise not only took courage, as the award says, it also may have cost him re-election.
He'll receive it for negotiating a compromise on the budget in his administration, even though it broke his campaign promise of no new taxes.
The foundation says Mr. Bush showed political courage when he abandoned his read my lips promise of no new taxes and agreed to a 1990 budget compromise that many believe cost him his re-election.
The annual award, named after JFK's book, is given to public servants who made courageous decisions without regard for the personal or professional consequences.
So those are all three of the major media outlets. Every one of them stumbled over that. I mean, it's like each of them was just kind of felt guilty about the fact that somebody gave President Bush a Profile in Courage Award for not having not having whatever it takes to keep your promises. Kind of a bizarre thing. Now back to clip number 7. Again, Mark Pryor, one of those Senate candidates in Arkansas who's in trouble because he voted for Obamacare, and conservative groups and his opponents are beating him properly about the head and shoulders for this. Here is an ad, clip 7. This is an ad run by Americans for Prosperity, a conservative group.
We received a letter from our insurance company as of December of 2014 that we would no longer be covered by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Well, now when somebody tells you if you like it, you can keep it, you believe them. But that's not so in this case. You think that you're going to be just one of those unlucky people, but then to find out that it's happening to so many. And again, that's why so many need to stick together, because there is strength in numbers.
Now, clip number 8 here, Rob, let's grab that one. This is an ad that was put together by Mark Pryor's opponent, Tom Cotton. And again, this is one of those races that really going to be contested, where the conservative challenger, in this case Tom Cotton, has a very good chance to unseat the incumbent Mark Pryor over the issue of Obamacare. Run 2 ads that I've played for you, 2 ads that are running against Pryor right now. And here's a third, this one put together by Tom Cotton going after his opponent.
While you were hard at work last week, your senator has been living the life in Hollywood. That's right, Senator Pryor went to Hollywood to get big Tinseltown money for his campaign. They just love his liberal record. Help us decide which Hollywood movie describes what's wrong with Senator Pryor's left-wing record in Washington. is it Gone with the Wind? That's what happened to your tax dollars. Pryor voted for Obama's trillion-dollar stimulus and the Wall Street bailout. How about From Here to Eternity? That's how long it will take to pay down the national debt Pryor and Obama ran up. Chicago. After all, Pryor votes with Obama 95% of the time. Or is it the French Connection? Pryor cast a decisive vote for Obamacare, pushing America toward a European-style government-run healthcare system. Mark Pryor. He puts Hollywood's interests first.
Now, it's my supposition that Obamacare is going to be lethal for the Democrats in November. Drop down to clip 11, if you would, Rob. This is Chuck Todd, NBC. And, you know, I think Chuck Todd means this to be a positive thing. He's ecstatic about this. Obamacare is here to stay, but what this means is that the knot around the neck of the Democrats that ties them to Obamacare, the anvil around their necks, the knot that ties this around their necks is not something that you can cut with a knife. Chuck Todd, let's listen.
But I think in the big picture here, you got to remember where they started. There was real fear inside the White House that this law could collapse, that they wouldn't get here. So at a minimum, the importance of hitting the 6 million, it means the law is unrepealable, Matt. It means that it's here to stay. So then we've advanced to the next part of the debate is, okay, then how do you fix the problems that people think are there?
Okay, so he says it's unrepealable. It's here to stay. I mean, he thinks this is great news. For the Democrats, this is horrible news because it means they can't get rid of this thing. It's tied around their neck like a rotting corpse, and there's not a thing they can do to get rid of it between now and November. Now, Senator Udall, Mark Udall from Colorado, clip 14, he's another guy that's in trouble. You know, and so Democrats have to make this choice. Do I run away from Obamacare? Or do I run with it, or do I try to say, look, it was a good idea, but we got to fix it? Senator Udall, and he's in trouble. He's got a competitive race in Colorado with challenger Cory Gardner. And so he's asked this question, what would you do if you had a chance to vote for Obamacare all over again? What would you do? Here's how the conversation went.
To your question, we had a broken system. We had a system that allowed insurance companies to drop people with no notice and refuse coverage. So in the end, we had to act. We had to fix a broken system. We now have a system that's far from perfect, but my focus is on making it work for Coloradans, and that's the Colorado spirit. We can't go back to the time when if you were a woman, the insurance companies could drop your coverage. Too many families went into bankruptcy because of health care costs. So in the end, we did the right thing. The law is far from perfect. My focus is on making it work for Colorado.
So you do it again?
I would do it again, yes. I would. I think, look, if I were there, I would say here's some things that we should have done differently.
And here are some things that might have made more sense, but Mark Udall saying, yep, I'd vote for this thing all over again. Mary Landrieu saying basically the same thing. Now, here's how Harry Reid, clip 15, here's how Harry Reid is trying to minimize the impact of Obamacare on electoral chances. Listen to Harry Reid explain why this is not going to be a problem.
As I indicated last week when we got here, Jeff Guerin looked at the Florida race, and he said that race was not lost because of Obamacare. That was a district that was very, very white and quite old. It's a district that had been a Republican for 60 years. So Obamacare, if you do a poll of anyone, that's dropped way down in significance.
All right, so that's Harry Reid's take, and nobody cares about Obamacare anymore. It's history. They have poll numbers way down there, and what people are concerned about. Don't have to worry about it. Nobody cares about it any longer. Now, drop down, if we can, Rob, to clip 23. This is Nate Silver. This is a guy that made his bones in 2012. He correctly predicted the electoral result in every single state in the union. Of course, that was when Obama won. So he has become like an icon to the left. Now, Nate Silver is out there with a different projection, and now he's become demonized and vilified by the same people that thought he was a prophet just 2 years ago. Let's listen.
This is the drum roll. Mm-hmm. Republicans need 6 seats. What's the projection? How many are they going to pick up?
I'd say exactly 6, but it's probably 6 plus or minus 5. That means it could be...
They could pick up 11 seats?
They could, yeah.
What you're basically saying is a 60% chance that Republicans win the Senate.
Something like that. So you can kind of imagine like a a bell curve distribution, sort of, where this is the most likely outcome. This is what Republicans would need to take over. This is 51, right, for them.
Yeah.
So you see probably 60% of this pie is colored in here.
Translation for the math impaired, Nate's projection is a 40% chance Democrats hold on, but a 60% chance the GOP wins, with a 30% shot they win big.
Still a lot of time, but a pretty decent chance of a really big win.
So that's Nate Silver, 60% chance that the Republicans will take back the Senate, win a minimum of 6 seats, and beyond that, a chance that they could get a really big win, that they could pick up as many as 11 seats. You know, we've seen some of these formulas that talk about how accurately you can predict the outcome of an election based on the incumbent president's approval ratings in September. So we still got a few months away from that, but if you have approval numbers down in the low 40s, then the projection is consistent with what Nate Silver is saying, a loss of 6 to 12 seats for the party that's in the lead in the Senate. That's the Democrats. All things considered, it's looking like a very, very bad year for the Democratic Party in November. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Now may the God of peace himself sanctify you completely, and may your whole spirit and soul and body be kept blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. He who calls you is faithful. He will surely do it. Do not forget to bow low before God, stand tall before man, stand in the gap, and never forget we're fighting a winnable war. See you tomorrow.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect those of the American Family